Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm, of course, your host, TJ. Talking to you today about a very fabulous book that I was actually discovered kind of sort of by accident. It was recommended to me by the owner of Woolly Bear Bookshop in Carnegie during my right after my signing. So I thought I would review it because it's a fantastic book. I've devoured it. I've only had it like less than a week, and I pretty much gobbled it up. So it's called The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang, and I'm going to apologize in advance in the event that I mispronounce the names because I'm not a native Chinese speaker, and though I do my best to pronounce things properly, I'm sure that I will mess them up. So if I do, I apologize in advance. So the premise of this is that there are two characters who are bound together through many lifetimes, and there are three set periods. One, I believe it is 4 BC, which is told from the point of view of Dong Xian, who is a sort of lower level bureaucrat in the imperial palace. The second is in where are we? Hold on. The second is He Shi Khan in 1740, which is from the point of view of He Shi Khan, who falls in love with a fox spirit, even as he has to contend with the manipulations of a doctor that is trying to seduce him. And the last is River, which is set in the present day, who encounters Joey, an artist, who, of course, is the reincarnated spirit. But as it turns out, little spoiler alert, he's actually the He Shi Khan and Dong Xian are the same person, and then Joey is actually the other, River is actually the other one. So it's kind of an interesting twist there at the end. So, there's a lot to enjoy about this book. I've been really thirsting for queer romantasy, both because I'm writing it and also because I just really enjoy the genre. And I know there's a lot of it in the indie space, and I'm slowly getting into that space. And there's a lot of queer fantasy that has queer romance elements, but there's not a lot of we've seen this huge this outburst of romantasy being published. A lot of it is, of course, Raylo ripoffs, and now, of course, I guess Harry Draco ripoffs, which is cringe for a whole lot of reasons. But there's not as much queer romantasy out there as I would like, which is part of the reason I'm writing it. But also, I'm thirsty for it. And so when the dear bookseller there recommended it, I thought, oh, okay, well, I need to read this. And it is deeply, passionately sexual. I love how erotic the prose is. I love how it immerses us in these three very distinct time periods, and I love this sort of heartbreaking idea of these two characters, these two loves that are bound together throughout their lives, for better and for worse. I think that queer love is a phenomenal force. It's something that motivates us. It's just, but it's also destructive. It can be all-consuming, and as this book makes clear, it binds you together through many different lives, sometimes not to your benefit. So there's a line very early on in the book that I'm gonna read. It's from the point of view of River in the present, and so this is after he meets Joey, and Joey says, "Yeah, you feel better. I'm River," I say. As our eyes meet, the music and lights and sweaty men below us erupt into a euphoric crescendo, and I don't know how else to describe a bittersweet feeling inside me. In this moment that I meet him, I realize I might be lonely for the rest of my life. His name is Joey. I mean, I love moments like that. It's chill-inducing, And there are so many moments like that throughout the book, both in the periods that are set in the past and also those in the present. And I love Huang's, rich prose, and I love the way he captures so many of the complexities of queer love and situates it within this fantastic setting. And I've spoken here at length at other places about how exciting it is to be in this moment where we have other folkloric and mythic and religious traditions being brought into the fold of fantasy storytelling, and I really enjoy that about this. And I love the characters. I love the way that we see the different iterations of these souls transmigrating through time, and only one of them is blessed with the ability to remember these past lives, which is itself, a terrible burden as well as a blessing. And so, there's just much to enjoy about this book, and I loved these characters. I loved getting to spend time with them throughout the histories, and it's a heartbreaking novel, and I appreciate that. it's not tragic in the way that, like, so many queer narratives are, but it is tragic in a sort of classical sense, of powerful forces that neither character can resist, even as they're being drawn throughout their different lifetimes. And so, I definitely recommend that you pick it up. Like I said, I've had it less than a week, and I just could not put it down. It just drew me in and kept me riveted from the very beginning to the end. I mean, it's not a hugely long novel, and I also have to praise this cover. I love um, the design, which I think really captures the powerful emotions that are at work. In fact, one of the blurbs for it says it's a technicolor dream of passion, obsession, and transcendent love. Now, if that isn't catnip for the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture, I don't know what is. This book was tailor made for me. I loved every minute of it. It's kind of like, sort of. This is the way that they pitched She Who Became the Sun. They pitched it as Mulan meets Song of Achilles, and I think there's a lot of that here too. So I think this is a definite must read for me and for everyone else out there. So it definitely gets the coveted Pisces Guide to Pop Culture seal of approval. So I definitely recommend it. Pick it up if you have a chance. That's the Emperor and the Endless Palace. Particularly excellent piece of queer romantasy storytelling. So anyway, that's all I have for today. So as always, thanks so much for joining me here at the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm your host TJ. Take care, y'all.